Okay, I don't know if anybody is watching yet, but I just went live a minute ago, and hopefully I'm recording. I'm going to go back and forth between the desktop and here. A reminder that I have issues using the Ustream chat, and those issues include the chat never loading. Sometimes it will load when I'm not logged in. Sometimes it won't. Today is a won't day. So if you're in chat and you want to ask me any questions, I won't see them. So I would recommend you stay in the social stream and ask me questions there. If you are in the chat and somebody asks a question or there's a conversation you think I need to know about, somebody needs to put something in the social stream. Or if you're my Facebook friend, message me on Facebook Messenger during the live broadcast, because otherwise I have no idea. If my two admin helpers are on today, which I know one of them's not going to be, then they will be monitoring and helping, hopefully. And we're going to just focus on this for a minute. This is the hashtag that if you have purchased my rubber stamps and you share any artwork or crafts, paper crafts, anything that you've done with them, when you post the image, if you could use the hashtag Gina Stamps, then I am able to easily find all those postings and take a look at the fabulous work you've all done. This is my website, in case you all didn't know what the address was. It's my name. My Etsy shop. And we're going to be sharing a special something from Daniel Smith today that I got in the mail, and this is the website for them and the link to that particular item number. So if you want to go to danielsmith.com and you don't want to write this whole thing down, then you need the item number 001900482. And we're going to be going over this again later. And there's somebody on besides me. There's 3 viewers, so there's some of you out there. Yay! I've got my iPad here, and sometimes it will load the chat. Today's not one of those days. It's not working. But I will have it right here so I can see the social stream. So I'm going to set this aside, and I'll pull it back out when we start talking about the Daniel Smith thing and some of the watercolors and stuff. I thought first I got some ideas about playing with my stamps, and I wanted to do them with you all. So I got these 2 stamp sets from Simon Says Stamps. These are by the Alleyway Stamps. This one is called Chatterbox. And this one is called Be Sweet, B-B-E-E, Sweet. And I thought they both went really well with some of the images on some of my stamps. You know, if you don't know, I have a line of doodle stamps. This is one of them. Get my ink pad out. Let's see. So I really like the word stamps, and I'm still working on my own word stamps, but I haven't gotten very far lately, to be honest. One new message. Oh, hey, Donna. All right, so I have a bunch of tags. So I thought I would do some tags, and I thought it would be nice to sort of build up a sort of a library of tags that have stamped images and sentiments on them that I could maybe put on a card or stick in Happy Mail or put on a journal page. And these tags I've had for, I don't even know how long, eons. It's by Paper Reflections, 20 small tags, 4 1/4 by 2 1/8. I don't even know where I got these, you guys. But I got a lot of them. I must have got them wholesale back when I was buying wholesale, because I opened up a package that had like 6 of these in it. And each one of these has 20 tags in it. Yeah, 20 tags. So I have a lot. So I'm going to take one of these tags. And I want to do the bumblebee on here. And I want to take some of the words from the Be Sweet It has beloved, wannabe, zombie. I would use the zombie one on something for my daughter or my husband. They love zombie movies. Beautiful. Because I like that. So I want to put the bee on here in the background, and I want to do it in color. I'm thinking maybe wild honey. Hey, Anne-Marie. Glad you could join us today. So let's try the bee, my bee stamp in the, this is a Distress Ink little ink spot thing in Wild Honey. Those little spot stamp pads are a really great way to get a bunch of different colors without taking up tons of room in your studio. I just wish they would make some of the new colors for 2015 in these little spots. They may be doing that at some point, but I haven't seen it come out yet. So let's see if that's enough ink. I have no idea. So I'm going to put him on here like this way. Oh, cuteness. So that's the bee from my stamp set. You can get them unmounted red rubber, in which case you get the whole collection of stamps. You can get them cling mounted, or you can get them wood mount, which is this. So I like that. Now let's get out a acrylic block. I got a new one because I couldn't find my old one like this, and then I found the old one, but you know, that's how it goes. Let's see. So remember, if you're watching, I cannot see the chat. My chat never works. I don't know. My husband tried to fix it the other day. He's trying to help me with it, and he says because I can get on there sometimes and not others, it's probably not a setting of me. It's something with Ustream. I don't know. So there's a your. Oops. Ooh, let's do this one. Isn't the bee cute? I think he's cute, yeah. Let's see. And I like the idea of having these word stamps with like individual words rather than sentiments. I have plenty of sentiment stamps and I love them, but if you have word stamps like this that are separate words, then you can pretty much make any sentiment that you want. And I love that idea. So I'm going to put this right over part of the bee. I'm stamping this in black. See, isn't that cute? I love that. And then you could picture that on a greeting card front, or put it in Happy Mail, or in an art journal page. Yeah, use the social stream, because if you guys are in chat, I can't see it, and if you guys can see the chat and you see people over there, direct them to stay in the social stream, because my chat is not loading as per usual, you know. That's how things roll with me. So I like that. Let's do another one. And again, these stamps are from The Alleyway. I got them from simonsaysstamp.com. And this set is called Be Sweet. And the other one is called Chatterbox. And then I also have, I don't remember who these are from. These may be Simon Says. These could be Studio G. I honestly don't remember. They might even be Simon Says. A lot of companies make sentiment word stamps, just individual words. And those are the ones right now that I not only like collecting, but I'm looking to make my words as to go with my stamps, because this is, I think, more useful than having sentiments. But I love that. Okay, let's do another one. I'm going to do a flower. Ooh, heart. This is my doodle heart. And I'm sorry if I'm like coffee and I have to like go grab a cough drop or something, but my allergies are making me crazy. And asthma. My husband's is acting up too. See, I'm glad to hear that I'm not the only one that the chat doesn't work for sometimes. It just, you know, and it's not just my computer. It didn't work on my husband's either. And his is, my desktop is hooked up via Wi-Fi, and his is directly wired in. So it's not us. That's all I can say. We have high-speed internet, so I doubt it's us. I'm looking for worn lipstick. It's in here somewhere. Barn door. I really want to do my heart in worn lipstick. Does everybody have fun plans for Mother's Day weekend? I hope. There we go, worn lipstick. All right, so let's do another one. Cute. There's the heart. And let's pick us. Let's put a word together. Let's see. I have this one. It says beloved. Instead of your, I'd like to put you are, but I don't see a you. This one says because. That's cute. Yeah, we'll use your again. Oops. Oh, that's right. I forgot, Anne-Marie, that you're like a day ahead of us. And also, I know Mom's Day is a different time of the year in some countries too. Isn't that cute? I'm telling you guys, I'm going to be doing a lot of these. So cute. All right, let's do the flower. I really want to do the flower. Do I want to do it in worn? I don't want to do it in worn lipstick. I'm going to use peacock feathers. And I love these little stamp pads. They're just, it's a perfect amount of colored stamps I need. I don't need big giant ones. Not in all these different colors. So in this case, I'm going to stamp it a couple of times. And my table's covered in a piece of canvas fabric. And eventually, when it's nice and marked up, I'll make a tote bag or something out of it. Okay, so that's cute. That's my Yeah, see, UK Mother's Day is in March. Yeah, I knew in some countries it's not in May. So that's one of my flower stamps. So now let's figure out a sentiment to put on here. Make one out of these stamps that we have. Let's see. This is Chatterbox. Oh, I like this one. I try to listen to my instincts and not second guess myself. I don't always manage, but I try. This is a long one, and this happens to be a sentiment, but you could cut it apart and separate it easily, which I may do eventually. I'm not going to do it right now. Then if you did, instead of a short sentiment, you would have the 3 words, which would be great. Try really hard not to get my fingers in the ink pad. I don't always manage that. Cuteness. And I like the way these clear stamps stamp. They stamp very well. Not all clear. Hello, Lisa. Not all clear stamps stamp well. These ones are stamping great, though. So I love that. Let's do another one. I'm like gonna be addicted now. I'm gonna forget what else I wanted to do with you guys today. All right, let's do another one. Fun. I'm glad I found all these white tags. Let's see. What else do I have? So my stamps, some of my stamps come in different sizes. Like here is the same flower. I have a big one and a little one. I have a dragonfly. The dragonfly is cute. There's a circle. There's a droplet. Okay, let's see. Let's do the dragonfly. What color should we do him in? Ooh, how about purple? Oh, I'm going to do this one. What color is this? Seedless Preserves. I don't have my glasses on today, so I may have to go get them. My reading glasses. Cute. So that's my dragonfly. Turn the viewfinder around. The camera may jiggle just a little bit. There we go. So I can make sure I'm in frame. So there's the dragonfly. So let's put a sentiment together. And I have these. Let's see. And this is one, and this might be from Lawn Fawn. It might be from Lawn Fawn. And this is one that's this is like a holiday words. So you have birthday, holidays, 4th of July, Father's, Thanksgiving, Merry, Hanukkah, Christmas, Happy. So you can put together any holiday sentiments that you want. Each one is an individual word. And then this one says, love this, my story, good things, thoughts, art, memories, today, life is. And then I have these from Simon Says. Oh, here we go. Hello, Mary. So this is a Simon Says stamp set, and this one is called B. And I think we're going to do this one. And I like this B, which is a script B. And let's see. Here we go. And then I'm going to use this one from the Alleyway Be Sweet set. This says amazing with a couple of Z's in it. Oh, good, Donna. I'm glad. Share some of the things you've been making with your stamps on social media, if you don't mind, or on my Facebook page, or just email them to me. I'd love to see. That one didn't stamp quite as clear, but when you have these clear stamps, you're doing sentiments with them. You should be able to, if you're careful, line it right back up. Watch me screw it up now, because you know what? I'm going to take this amazing off the bottom. Last chance to screw it up. Let's see. I think I screwed it up. Oh, not too bad. That's cute. Oops, sorry. Be amazing. So those of you who are just joining us, I've been using some of my stamps to create these little tags. I got the idea the other day to stamp some of my designs in color and then a sentiment on top of it in black with some of the stamp sets I have that are just individual words and putting different words together, and like on this one, different fonts. I love the way that looks. Oh, 2 of your kids' birthdays on Mother's Day. Wow. That makes for a busy day. We're going to be driving to go visit my mother-in-law in Sacramento. She's going to be, or is 80, I think she's 86. All right, and then this one, put this back. All right, let's do another one. I've got this droplet stamp. So, if you find, these little white tags, these are small. I was saying earlier, these are by Paper Reflections, and I must have bought these when I was buying stuff wholesale, because I have a wholesale pack of them. It has like 8 of these little bags in it. Each bag has 20 tags in it. They're 4 1/4 by 2 1/8 inches. 10.7 centimeters by 5.4 centimeters. For those of you who do centimeters. I don't remember where I got them from. You guys know me. I don't remember my birthday some days, so. All right. Let's pick another color. Do we want to do dried marigold? Maybe. Maybe I do. Do I have a lighter blue? I should have a lighter blue somewhere. Broken China should be lighter, huh? How dark is Broken China? I think let's try Broken China. I think I might want to do a flower one in the marigold. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's a good choice. I like that color. There's my dog, because somebody's probably walking on the sidewalk. That's what he does. Okay, that's cute. I like that. All right, let's figure out a sentiment. I also have these. These I got on clearance at Hobby Lobby, and these are by Pink Paisley. I don't know what, it's called Sentiments. Sentiment, oh no wait, Sentiment. The price tag's right over it, I don't know. Sentiment series. Now these I got on clearance. I actually got 2 of them, and one of them I split it up and put it out in a bunch of pocket letters. And there's different, each one of these little hexagons. Hexagon has 6 sides, right? Has a different word in it. Smile brightens my day. Embrace, hold me close. Heart, love you more. And I love these little like mini sentiments. I love the individual words more. They're more useful, especially when you're doing something like this. Let's see. Let's do this one. So there's another one from the Alleyway stamp set, and this is a long sentiment that has 5 words in it, and it definitely could be split up. Get my bigger block. It definitely could be split up so that you could use the words individually, and that's probably what I will do eventually. We'll do one more of these and then we'll move on to some other stuff. Because I'm sure you guys don't want to see me stamp like for 2 hours. Okay, I really like the way these Alleyway stamps stamp. They're nice and clean and clear. You don't have to try to go over it again. Really nice. And these tickets or tags, these are cute, and I can see just having a bunch of these in a box that you could add to, you know, a greeting card front or a journal page, or if you're doing a letter journal and with one of the letter journal groups, sticking it in there or sticking it in some swap mail. Really cute. I love those. Okay, we're going to clip these up to above the table so I don't lose them. And let's put all of these away. So who's ready to do some watercolor comparison testing? Anybody? I have now a few different brands of paints in the same or similar colors. And although I'm waiting on one more set of paints, fine art paints, I didn't think we would wait for that to do some testing. So I've been getting a lot of questions lately about my watercolors. Oops. And then I thought we would play with the watercolors. I don't know, what do you guys want me to paint? Anything in particular? Let me know. Put something in the social stream. Don't put it in the chat because I can't see you. Alright. I'm going to move some of this stuff and change some things around here. And I'm going to grab a cough drop. So I'm not coughing and hacking on camera. All right. While I'm moving things around, here is our list of web addresses again. There we go. Me what, Mary? I don't know what that means. It might be referring to something I just said, but I've forgotten already, to be honest. Oh, me, you mean about the watercolor. Yeah, okay, we're gonna go on to that. Aren't the tags cute, Lisa? It's a cute, easy way to make a fun little thing that you can stick into a bunch of stuff. All right, so you've all seen this before. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. Let's see. There you go. So you've all seen this before. This is my main watercolor palette. It is, the palette itself comes empty. It is by Robax Engineering. If you type Robax, R-O-B-A-X, palettes, their page will come up. They're not cheap, but they're totally worth the price. The palette comes with the Lazy Susan bottom, which is separate. I actually have these so they're Velcroed together. So I can lift it and move it around without worrying about the Lazy Susan part coming off. And then it comes with a couple of mixing trays. And, okay, Mary, the Peerless is one of the brands that we're going to swatch today and compare. It comes with a couple plastic mixing trays. I use a ceramic mixing tray to mix my watercolors on most of the time unless I'm traveling. So I actually don't use the mixing trays, but it comes with, I think, 2 or 3 of them. This is a printable off of their website to make a color chart for your tray. And then I added this little plastic, I think it's a yogurt lid with bottle caps in it, to add 3 more colors to it. And we have titanium white, Chinese white, which are a little bit different, and titanium buff in the middle of my palette. They do seem to be semi-permanent. They don't seem to move around as much as a traditional watercolor after it's dry. And the artist watercolors in general seem to be more semi-permanent than your student grade. All right, so the first thing I want to talk to you about is this thing. So this is from Daniel Smith. They have available on their website a 238 color swatch chart. And why I'm mentioning it and why I love this particular chart so much more than any of the other ones I've ever seen, especially watercolor, is that these are actual blobs of paint. So I don't know if you can see that on camera. They're actual little blobs, yeah you can, of Daniel Smith watercolor paint that you can actually reactivate with a wet brush and paint from them and try out the colors before you buy a whole tube. This is 238 of their colors. I do believe they have more than that in their line. Not too much more, but a little more. An ad. Oh, I hate the ads. You guys tell me when the ad is over. And if you missed anything about these. So these are actual blobs of paint that you can reactivate with a wet brush. You can try all of these colors before you buy a tube. And, you know, these little blobs, I know it doesn't look like a lot of paint, but a little bit of dried watercolor paint really does go a long way. And this would be great to add to your kit of watercolors, not only in your home studio, but in your travel art bag. You could totally cut these big sheets up into smaller cards and staple them together or put them in a little binder or something, little folder, and make them into something like the Peerless watercolor palette I'll show you in a minute that Miss Peta made me, and put it in your travel art bag. This is $23.78 for 238 color samples of their paint, which is really cheap when you consider each one of their paint tubes on average is about $10 to $15 a tube. And artist quality paint usually is pretty expensive like that. So it is, if you go to danielsmith.com, it is item number 001900482, and you can put that in their search box and it should come up. So I love that. So we're gonna swatch. Daniel Smith is one of the brands we're gonna swatch today, and in case I want to swatch a color, I want to in case I want to swatch a color I don't own in my big palette, I know it's going to be on here, so we're going to keep that out. So I thought we'd do a couple of Rolodex cards. I haven't been doing them lately. And I thought we would do a couple colors, like a yellow and like a blue. So I thought for yellow we would do yellow ochre. And I have this, I need my glasses for this. Hold on, reading glasses to the rescue. Okay. So this is Royal Langnickel, which is a very inexpensive student grade watercolor paint. Nothing special at all. And we're going to do yellow ochre. And I have my Peerless palette that Miss Peta made me. And I know there's a yellow ochre in here because I was looking earlier. And I have Winsor Newton, Koi, and Daniel Smith. Now I have Winsor Newton, I have a cake, and I have a tube. So we're going to try them both and see if they're different. So first thing we need is some water. And while I'm doing this, maybe you guys can let me know if there's something in particular you want me to paint for you later. So first we'll do the Royal Langnickel. Normally I would put the paint out on a piece of plate or something, but I'm going to just take it right out of the tube. I like yellow ochre. It's one of the colors I like to paint with. I'm going to lift a little bit of it so I can see what it looks from gradiated from dark to light. Well, let me zoom in for you guys so you can see. There you go. So that's the Royal Langnickel. Okay. And let's do Peerless. I have no idea if I spelled that correctly. Alright, let's see. I know there's yellow ochre in here because I was looking earlier before I got on camera. Oh, there it is. The Peerless watercolors are also really great for doing a travel bag with because they are flat on paper or cloth. Okay. Now these are both called yellow ochre, but look at the difference in color. One is a lot more green than the other. I actually like the Peerless, I think, a lot. So that's Peerless. I have Daniel Smith. Where'd it go? There it is. Now with the Daniel Smith is the one out of my main palette, and it's a dried tube. It's dried, but it's a tube paint. I didn't even get it very wet, and look how much color I got out of it. And I barely got it wet. Alright, and then actually get these more wet. Okay. And then in this, which I just filmed a vlog and I just talked about in my vlog. So this case is from Target, and it is from the cosmetic department, and it was really inexpensive. It was, I don't remember how much it was, but it was really inexpensive. And it's a good case for a small travel watercolor palette case. So it has this flap in the front where it has 5 spaces to put things in, and you could put your a couple of water brushes. I have a Stabilo pencil, a Scarlet line pen. You could actually fit a couple more things in here. I've got a small Winsor Newton travel cake palette. I've got a spray bottle, a pencil sharpener, and a rag. And you could fit a little bit of watercolor paper in here, some little cards or something. So it's a really great little travel bag. And I got it to make a second travel bag. I really don't need it though. So I did make the bag, but now I don't know. I might give it away. I might do a giveaway. We'll see. I don't know if any of you would be interested. So this is a Winsor Newton from the travel set. Now I got the Daniel Smith one more wet, so let's go over this again. There we go. I should be labeling these, shouldn't I? Winsor Newton set. Daniel Smith. Okay. So we've got that one. We'll set that aside. And then I've got this one, which is the first kit I ever started with. And this is Art Alternatives. Now, I'm not going to swatch this one because I used up all the yellow ochre. That yellow ochre is actually Royal Langnickel. So I can't swatch this one. But this one behaves very much like the Royal Langnickel. It's just an inexpensive, cheap student set. There's nothing wrong with starting with something like this. It's fun to play with. This is my other travel, my bigger travel kit. And my koi set is down here. Here we go. So let's get some of the yellow ochre from this. They're all a little bit different. Now see, the koi so far of the travel sets is my favorite. And it's my favorite because it's pigmented similarly to the Daniel Smith. It's very well pigmented. But these are all decent. And the Peerless is a very different color. Koi. And we're going to do the Winsor Newton tube. And sorry if you hear crunching, I'm crunching on a cough drop. If you're watching and you're in the chat, I can't see the chat, so please put anything that you want to ask me or conversation you want to have with me in the social stream. Because as per usual, my chat's not working. Because, you know, that's what happens. Okay, so this is the Winsor Newton tube for my main palette. It should be similar to the one from the set. Oh, no, it's not, though. Look how much yellower it is. So those are all the yellow ochre ones that I own. They're all a little bit different. I love it. I like the Peerless is so green. It's good to know that it's that green. All right, so let's do another comparison. Let's do a blue. So let's do something turquoisey. So I'm going to start with, let's see, get some of these wet. Let's see what I have in my drawer. Somebody's going to ask me, what do you mean your drawer? So this is where I keep my tubes of paint. Once I stick them in my palette, then I put the tubes away. This is Prussian blue. And sometimes if I get them on clearance, this is a Winsor Newton cobalt blue. What is this one? I can't pronounce that, but it's a blue. No, I don't know. I can't pronounce that word. Manganese blue. I might not have a Royal Langnickel one that's... I have Prussian blue, so we'll use that one. Okay. So we'll start with this one as Prussian blue. Isn't that pretty? Not super well pigmented, and if you look at it, I like to do a lot of wet on wet work, and if you look at that, there's a lot of, it's kind of blotchy. Not that that's a bad thing, because for some applications I might like that, but. All right, so then let's go back to the Winsor Newton small set. And I think the closest one to Prussian blue is going to be this one. Well, it's very much more blue than the other one from the Royal Langnickel. That might be more of an ultramarine blue. It's a pretty blue though. What's this one over here? There's two blues in the set. There's a cool blue and a warm blue. Nope, that's not either. But you can already tell, even though they're different blues, between the Royal Langnickel and the Winsor Newton. Look at how much better the Winsor Newton is pigmented, the paint. Even though they're slightly different colors, you can tell that. There's more pigment. Let's do the koi. And I think this here is a similar color to the Winsor Newton, which again might be ultramarine. Look how much different it is. Let's see. I haven't actually made a swatch card of my koi set yet. I guess I should do that. So there's a blue in the koi set that's very much like the Royal Langnickel, but look at the difference in color and look how much better pigmented it is. Now, how well pigmented your paints are and how much you care about that, that just depends on how serious you want to get with your paints. If you just want to play, then get a koi set from like Hobby Lobby and use a coupon. Let's see, I'm looking at my blues. This is a Talons brand, color number 501. It's very much in the same turquoisey ultramarine blue kind of color as the Winsor Newton. The Talon's a decent cake set. It's a cake watercolor. And it's the second set I ever bought. And they're nicely pigmented. Now let's go look at the Peerless. And the Daniel Smith. Yeah, the Daniel Smith watercolor sticks, I like them. I don't own any yet, but I've played with them before, and I do like them. Let's see. I'm looking at my palette to see what color of blue I have that would be close to give you guys an idea. I have Arctic blue, cobalt blue. Let's try Arctic blue. So that's just a teeny tiny little sample from the Peerless set right there. I've lost track now of which ones were which, but that's fine. Let's see, we'll put Peerless. And that was Talons. This was koi. Maybe this was Winsor Newton too. No. I don't know. I don't know which one that was. All right, now let's look at our sample set that Daniel Smith sent me. Right side up. Put my glasses on so I can read. Oh, let's do... There's a lot of blues on here, and you guys, you know I like blue. I gotta pick one? Crap. Let's just do ultramarine blue because I think that's more of an ultramarine. So let's do the ultramarine. Now I'm barely touching it to the color chart, and look how much color I got. And it's honestly I barely touched it. And it's a dried teeny tiny little sample of Daniel Smith. Very cool. I'm loving this, and I'm glad they sent this to me. I emailed them and asked them if they had anything like that so I could let you guys know. So that's a great way to try different paints, and I don't know if any of the other watercolor companies have that or not. I only know that Daniel Smith does. It'd be worth writing to the other companies, though, to see if they have that, and if they don't, we should, I'll put a bee in their bonnet about it. I like that. Okay, so let's do some watercoloring. I've got some postcards here. All right, let's see, there we go. So what should we paint? How about if I do a little landscape? I need a bigger brush. I need a wash brush. So even my brushes I bought on clearance, my watercolor brushes, are some of the brushes I try to buy the nicer ones for, and I buy them on clearance or when Tuesday Morning has some. This is a Princeton Neptune brush, and I got it on clearance at Michael's. And my watercolor brushes are only for watercolor. I don't use them for acrylic paint. All right. So let's start with, move some of this stuff out of the way. There we go. And let's see. If you're watching and you're in the chat, come over to Social Stream because my chat's not working as usual. I'm going to get all my greens wet. I'm going to get some blues wet. Some of my cool blues. And I'm going to get some of my browns wet, my earth tones. And I'm going to get a red wet. Alright. So, let's start with greens. So this is called working wet on wet, where you just lay the color down onto the paper that's already wet, and you work with wherever the paint chooses to go or decides to go and flow and pool and puddle. Oh, cool, Mary. Yeah, I was telling a student of mine just recently who wants to do more sketching and maybe some watercoloring of like landscapes and things about you, and that they should watch your YouTube channel. And I was telling her about your urban sketching, and she's very interested. So if you, and she's going to be telling her friends. So if you pick up some new subscribers, that might be why. Somebody put a couple of different colors of green in here, and they're going to pool and puddle and blend together. And I'm okay with that. And this darker one is Talon's number 640, and the first one was Winsor Newton's Sap Green. I like that, and I'm going to leave that. But what I'm going to do is get out my dryer. So I've never been one to be patient. Like, patient has never been anything I'm very known for. And generally speaking, when you're watercoloring, you want to do a, layer, and you want to let it dry, and then, the way I work anyway, and then do another layer, let that dry. I don't have the patience to let things dry naturally, so I always have one of these. One of the things I'm thinking about adding to my kit, if I can find one, is a battery-operated hair dryer or something, so that when I'm out and about, like hopefully someday urban sketching like Mary does, I can dry it with my portable heat tool instead of having to wait for things to dry, because I am not patient. So if anybody knows of a good one, a decent one I should look at that's not super expensive, let me know. Yeah, see, Mary, I'm looking too, and I'm having the same trouble finding one. And when I do find one, I usually have to order it online, and it's very expensive. So I'm still looking. I do have a sister who is in the cosmetology business, so I may ask her about getting me one wholesale. I don't know. We'll see. All right, so when you're working wet on wet with watercolor, you really have no control to a certain extent over where that paint goes. Very limited control. It really forces you to be more expensive. I mean, more expensive. Holy cow. More expressive with your paint and your marks. And that's totally the way I like to work. So this is right. Working wet on wet makes me really happy. And I see your comment, Lisa. I love that. I am going to have to send or order a sample card, because I would like to try the Quar watercolors from Golden, and I haven't yet. So I'm going to turn my card upside down, and I'm going to do wet on wet again with the sky. And just turning it upside down means that, for me, that when I put the blue on there, I can tilt the card this way so I can double ensure that it doesn't go into what's going to be the grass here. And I've got my cool blues. This is Talon's number 512, which is a color I like for the sky. And this is a cake watercolor set that I've had actually for a long time. I pulled it out of the original box and stuck it in this Robax palette because I love this palette. And then Talon's 508, which is a darker color. That's kind of too much of it, so if you catch it right away while it's wet, you can lift it with a brush. You can also lift it with a rag. You guys see me do this a lot with a rag. And I try to do it quickly and then push it around, because I don't necessarily want those rag marks in my painting. I don't mind if it pools and kind of goes where it wishes, but I don't want those rag marks. I want something that's painterly. And I want to leave some white space. I want to like hint at there being clouds in the sky. I like that. Let me actually pull a little bit more of that up. Let's see. Now, this isn't the best watercolor paper, so I want to make sure I don't scrub at it too much, because then the paper will start to pill. Oops. And if you're working wet on wet and you want to get some drips and fun marks and see where the paint's going to go, just, you know, knock it on the table and it's going to get all drippy and fun. All right, let's put some mountains in, I think. And I want to use, let's see, I'm going to use Moon Glow. Moon Glow is this dark grayish purpley blue color. It's a Daniel Smith color. It is my favorite Daniel Smith color, and it's the one that got me interested in Daniel Smith paint. And we're going to do our mountain range in that. Let's see. I'm not working wet on wet now. I'm just, the paper is dry. I'm going to turn it upside down so I can get this bottom line fairly even. There we go. Now watercolor is not forgiving, so you know, if you get a color in the wrong place, you have to live with it. Figure out how to make it into a creative opportunity. Because you can lift some of it up, but you're never going to get all of it up. And you really want to work lighter to darker. If you're working in acrylic paint, you know, you really can, if you make something too dark, you can lighten it by just going over the top of it after it dries with lighter paint, but you can't really do that with watercolor, so I like that. See, this is dark purpley gray, like dusty purple color. So I'm going to keep at it with that color for the moment. Forgot to turn my phone off. So yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so now I'm going to go in there with, let's see, what color? Lunar blue, maybe. Lunar blue would be fun. So lunar blue is a dark, super dark turquoisey blue. It's another Daniel Smith color. Oops, too much water. Thank you, Mary. Your screen went blank, Lisa? Hit refresh. Oops. So this is lunar blue, and I'm going to add it right on top of the bloodstone. Sorry, moonstone. There is one called bloodstone. Daniel Smith has some unique colors that none of the other paint ranges have. So even if you chose to expand your paints with another brand, you might want to look at the Daniel Smith colors for the unique ones. And no, I'm not being paid by Daniel Smith. I always said that I wasn't a landscape painter and that painting landscapes weren't my thing, but I've discovered that I lied. And I actually like doing watercolor landscapes. I like that. So now we're going to dry that before I do anything else and I mess it up. Yeah, I really want a heat tool, Mary, that gets hot like an embossing tool because it dries it really fast. I did see one that on one of the big art websites that was butane, but I don't really want to get anything. That sounds scary to me. I think I might blow myself up. All right, so now I think I want to, down here, I'm going to get a little patch of this wet. And I'm going to go into a red here. This is Talons number 311. That's a warm, like a cadmium red. And I'm going to put some dots. They're gonna spread out like that. And do the same thing over here. Whoops. I rinsed my brush off well, see? Gonna have to live with our being a red haze over there. That's alright. So I'll do the same thing over here. These blended too much, so let's do that again. I do use pastels and charcoal, mostly charcoal, although I do have a full set of pastels and both chalk pastels and oil. Oil pastels are not my favorite. Yeah, there is a dryer that, Mary, that I saw that's butane, an art, some kind of art tool. And I don't know enough about it yet. I haven't been able to investigate. But I did see it the other day when I was looking. And it wasn't a hair dryer, it was an art thing. So these red blooms of color, I'm going to just keep adding color to them until I get something that I like. They will suggest flowers. Well, I'm thinking about the butane thing, Lisa, or Condi Girl, because I want a portable dryer for when I'm doing this, you know, and I'm on vacation, and I'm like out and about. I love to be painting at the beach, or, you know, what would be more fun, those of you who've been to Las Vegas, than to be sitting at at one of the coffee shops on the Strip, painting not only the casinos, but some of the craziness that goes that goes on. You might come out with some interesting paintings. Okay, I really like that, so I'm not even going to lift it, and I'm going to dry it. And I'm holding the dryer kind of far away because I don't want to push the water and paint around too much. Once you get it so there's no more puddles of water, you can kind of lift it up to see where it's still shiny and dry it some more. Okay, now I'm going to put some more green in here. And I like to work quickly so that things don't dry too much, so I can spread the paint around. So that if I want to, I can lift or blot some of the paint off. If you want to try to lift some of it off, and again, you'll probably never get all of it off, you want to make sure it's not dry and that you probably add a little extra water. Now, if you have a really great quality artist paper, like some of the Arches paper, the paint lifts off better on some papers than others, so it has to do with the way the paper's made and the finish on the paper. So this is a sap green, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So when you're doing grass, I think we talked about this when we did the seascape. Don't do all your grass. Okay, don't do your grass this way. Can you see that color? Maybe I need a darker color. Let's see. Let's use the hooker's green, which is darker. Okay, so if you do your grass, oh, I should be in frame too. Whoops. Okay, so if you do your grass like this, that doesn't look like grass, it looks like hair follicles. So if you want something that looks more natural and organic, do your grass this way. Right? So if you're looking at a painting, which would you prefer? You know, this looks like hair follicles or a fence. This looks more like grass. And that's hooker's green, by the way. That's a Winsor Newton hooker's green. And I also do my grass in a few different colors in anything I paint. Because grass is not ever all one color, so, you know, do a couple different colors. And then back to the sap green. And also use a very light touch on your paintbrush, and you'll get these nice colors there. There you go. Simple, easy, and pretty. And if you wanted to, you could put some little like hints of foliage in the background. The farther away it would be, the more blobby and less defined. So and like any other painting, if you're going to start painting, the more of these little details you stick in here, the better your piece is going to look. And you kind of want people to travel around the painting. Let's see. I like that there. So then you have that. I may have some grass follicles. That's cute, Mary. So that's cute. So yeah, so when you're painting, don't, you know, try to avoid this, because that doesn't really look like grass. This looks more like organic grass, wild grass. But that's just a matter of practice. And having a nice brush with a nice pointy tip, that's what you want with grass. So I'm going to go in near to where I just put those other grassy, bushy blobs, and I'm going to put this darker hooker's green. Not a ton of it, but some. Now keep in mind when you're watching me do this, I'm very much more expressive in the way I paint, and I'm not literal and very realistic in the way I paint. That has to do with not only my personal style and what I enjoy, but who I learned from. And my teachers, for the most part, are expressive abstract painters that I've learned from. So, but there you go. There's a cute little landscape. And I would probably leave it at that. That's cute. And that I would probably turn into a postcard, and maybe when it's dry, add some journaling to it. Or, you know, these are a good size that you could actually address the back. So they're cute. I have a few of them down here I'll share with you guys. Let's see, that I did the other day. Some of these you've seen already. So here's one. I posted these on social media. If you watch Creation CC, you saw her do a journal page with these kind of blobby flowers on one of her art journal pages. I decided to try them the other day when I was out and about. And this I did with the koi. This was done with the koi set. Here's another little landscape that I did. I'm going to put these here. Hang on, there we go. Here is face. This is Billie Holiday. Oops. There we go. I think that's the last one that I have in here that's a watercolor. So let's do another one. We have time. What would you guys like to see? I'm going to work wet on wet again, because that's what I usually do. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Kimberly. All right, so let's see. I'm going to start. I don't know what I'm going to paint exactly. I have a little bit of an idea, unless you guys say something different. This is another Daniel Smith color. This is Rose of Ultramarine. Wait till you see this color. It's like a cross. Sorry, hang on, guys. Sorry, guys. Okay, so it's a cross between violet and rose. Look at that color. Dandelions on green grass. Okay, we can do that. This won't be it because this is purple. But don't you love that color? Okay. Look at a fresh card. Dandelions. Alright, so let's start with our background, and again, wet on wet. I gotta think of how I want to do the dandelions. Alright, let's start with the green. Let's start with sap green. It's usually my go-to green, so oh yeah, thanks. I love pink. I have different ringtones for different people too. Some of them had some foul language in them, so, and it used to go off when I was like at work, when I was still working for American Greetings. I would be in the middle of Target and you'd hear the song come on that had foul language in it, so I had to change it. But I like the pink. All right, purple dandelions. Yeah, we could do purple dandelions. Okay, let's see. Let's do the greens first and put the greens in. This is Hooker's green. So when you're doing a painting, you have to, in watercolor, as Mary I'm sure knows, you have to be very mindful of starting with your lightest colors and figuring out as you're going where you want to go and what parts, if any, you need to leave white because you can't lighten it. So as I'm painting, I try to be mindful of all that, and I'm thinking we'll do some sort of dandelion type flowers. We'll do some more flowers. I think that we'll do sort of a bright, vibrant flower. So and I'm thinking, I dried some of that already, but I'm thinking I want to do this. You know, I usually tell you guys to just follow your instincts, and I almost didn't do it there. So I think I want most of the background to be green. just grab a bunch of green. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to put the flower over the top of this, and I'm going to show you how I work in layers sometimes. But because when I put the flower colors on top of the green's going to affect that color. But if I don't dry the green, it will mix with that color, and I don't necessarily want it to mix too much. So I'm going to try to dry it all. Thank you. Okay, so now we have this pretty green kind of watercolor-y background. So now let's start putting I don't know if it's going to turn out to be a dandelion, Mary, but let's put a flower on here, and let's go back to using that Rose of Ultramarine. I really love that color. And I'm going to keep the paper more on the dry side and not do as much wet on wet work as I usually do. That doesn't mean I won't do some. And put a little paint on there and then spread it out with some water. Maybe even blot some of it. Or lift. In watercolor it's called lifting. Not supposed to call it blotting. Alright, and I like the way that looks, so I'm going to leave that. So now let's keep going. And this is that color, Rose of Ultramarine. It's a Daniel Smith color. There's a artist, I just got a DVD from Cheap Joe's artsupplies.com, cheapjoes.com. And there's an artist that does DVDs for them. Her name is Janet Smith, and she does a lot of wet on wet flowers. I love the way she works, so I want to study that a little bit. Well, I think watercolors are fun. I started with watercolors, Kimberly, and I only later went to acrylic paint. I do love acrylic too. It's a different process. And I've been taking a class lately from Pauline Agnew, and if you've been following me on social media, you know I have done a couple of her lessons in watercolor with fabulous results. And it's a great medium. I love my watercolors. I actually probably own more watercolors than I do acrylic paint, and I own a lot of acrylic paint. And I've been saving and saving and saving, and Monday I get a set of Schminke. I finally had enough money saved to get some Schminke watercolors. Schminke are professional grade watercolor, made in Germany. Very, very, very expensive. And I will do a review for you guys when they come in. I don't know if I'm going to like them better than my Daniel Smith colors, because I really do like my Daniel Smith colors, but we'll see. So I'm going to keep moving the color around and lifting and adding. You don't want your piece to be flat and all one color. You want there to be tones and shades and light spots and dark spots. It'll make the finished piece more interesting. And because this is on top of that green background, it's not as dark and vibrant as it normally would be. Yeah. So you want to know that that's what your paint is going to do. I think this is going to be a rosemary. I started out thinking I would do you a dandelion, but I don't think this is going to be a dandelion. Hope that's okay. Maybe it's a cross between a rose and a dandelion. Yeah, schminky, yeah. My husband has family in Germany. I'm wondering if they have like a factory that's open to the public. I could drag one of his cousins there that speak English. That would be cool. That would be fun. That's got to be on my bucket list. But yeah, I had to save up for that because they are not cheap. And contrary to some people's opinion on YouTube who think that I have tons of money, which I don't know where on the planet you think that is true, but it's not, totally not true. I like that. That's pretty. So let's put You're welcome. Never hopeless. I love sharing art with people. So there we go. So now we're going to dry that before we do anything else. See, I was doing roses last night with somebody. That might be why I started doing roses. I don't know. I have a thing for roses lately. I don't know. No, Mary, Daniel Smith and Schminky, I think, are about the same. The set of 48 Schminky paints, they come in half pans instead of tubes. You can buy them by the tube. If you compare tube to tube, I think they're about the same price. The half pan set of 48, there's a few different ones, but I know the 48, which is the biggest one they make, is retails for like $600, but you can get it for less than $400 at a couple of different places, including Dick Blick, Utrecht, and Cheap Joe's, I think, or Jerry's Artorama, one of those. But tube to tube, I think they're about the same. Okay, now I'm going to use Hooker's Green. Darker green. Let's see. I'm going to use this color, which is not green. It's a phthalo turquoise. Let's see. Always start out with just a little bit, and you can always add more, but because, like I said, because we're working with watercolors, it's going to be hard to take away. So I'm going to over here. That's too much of that one. Ah, Elizabeth. Oh, good. Good to know that. I'm Sparkle Goddess on a few things, but it really is just me. Let's put some Hooker's green in there. I mean, what is this? Sap green in there. And I've always liked to share my art with people, whether I was doing more crafty stuff or painting. I have been told in the past by people that I shouldn't, you know, share secrets or how I do things, and I just can't do that. That's not who I am. I love sharing and learning and creating with people, and that's how I am and will always be. So I just love it that there's somebody out there that wants to see me talk or hear me talk. I love that. Look at that. Oops. That's a cute postcard. Let's dry it again. Okay, let's give it a little pop, and we're going to get in here with, let's see, Daniel Smith Opera Pink, which is a really bright, hot pink. See, this is the color. It's a really bright pink. It's a great pink. So I'm going to stay on the lighter parts of my flower where the paint is not as dark. I'm not going to try to, you know, if I go outside the lines a little bit, I'm not going to try to stay completely in the lines. I'm not worried about it. If it goes out, it goes out. This is an abstract piece, really, so and when I first started watercoloring, I just did doodles. I did, you know, elementary school style doodles, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just play. You don't ever have to show it to anybody. Just play it being expressive. You don't have to be crazy like those of us who are on YouTube. Yeah, see, you guys have to, don't be in the chat. I can't see the chat, so if you guys are talking about something you need me to answer, I haven't answered yet, somebody come over here to Social Stream and let me know, because I have no idea what you guys are talking about. And this is, you know, I've lost track of what kind of paper this is, but it's either Strathmore, I'm sorry, Canson XL watercolor paper, or what I think it is Fabriano watercolor, cold press watercolor paper. It's leftover from when I was making journals, and I saved the leftover pieces and cut them into postcards like this to do these little paintings on. And yeah, cold press, 140-pound Fabriano watercolor paper. I also do like arches, which I have, and I have a brand new block I haven't broken into yet. My other one that I use is Strathmore. Michael's just had a sale on Strathmore yellow paper pads. Buy one, get two free. And I bought 3. Their brown is a better quality, but they were on, the yellow was on sale. And when you're just doing little practice cards like this, and you're playing with your watercolors and learning what you like and don't like about working with watercolor, and you're doing little doodles and playing, you don't have to go spend, you know, a gazillion dollars on the paper. At the same time, don't get super cheap paper, and don't try doing mixed watercolor on mixed media paper. You do want to use watercolor paper. I would stick with like something that's middle of the road. You don't need the best. Fabriano Cold Press is a good student paper, and I still use it. I like it. If I'm going to do something for a commission for somebody that I know is going to get hung on the wall, I use Arches. Sennelier. So I don't have any Sennelier watercolors, and I think I have 2 oil pastels or 3 of theirs. They're really expensive. So, I mean, I just ordered Schminky, so I don't mind spending the money on a good quality product. I have to save up for it, but at this point I need to stop buying watercolor paint because I am what I call a color whore. And yes, I did say the word you think I said. And if it was up to me, I would have every color of watercolor paint in every brand because that's who I am. So I'm trying really, and the more stressed I am, the worse that impulse gets. So I'm trying really hard not to be that way. But I did want a fine artist set of watercolors that I could use and something that was in a pan that I could take with me. The Daniel Smith will always live here. Now, they don't have a travel set, the Daniel Smith. I'd actually have to buy an empty pan set tin thing and then fill it up with Daniel Smith paints. And I was trying to avoid doing that because that's such a big pain in the butt. Riley's Art Store. Okay, I don't know about Riley's Art Store. Maybe you should send me the link for that, Lisa. So here's our flower. I don't think it's done. I think I need to do something else to it. Okay. So when I'm drying it, I'm really just tilting the paper and looking at the shiny puddles of water and drying up my shiny puddles. Okay, so let's go in here, and this is the sap green. See, I'm glad I'm not the only one, Lisa. I'm the same way. When I was really into knitting, I wanted to have, yarn in every color. Because, I might need all the different brands of yarn in every color. So, yeah, it's not a good thing. It really isn't. It's a hard impulse to control. Let's see. I'm going to go in here with aqua. Let's see. Yeah. So if you guys are in the chat, I can't see you. So come over to Social Stream. And yes, I love my koi set. It makes me very happy. For the price and considering that it's a student set, I think they're excellently pigmented, wonderful paints. And because they're carried at Hobby Lobby, you are able to use a coupon. Yay! Who doesn't love that? So I love it, and it's probably going to be, for most things, it's going to be my go-to travel set. Unless I know I'm going somewhere where I'm going to, really want to maybe paint something that's going to eventually hang on the wall, then I'll bring this Schminky. I do, Mary, sometimes use masking fluid. I don't use it a lot, but yeah. Especially when I'm doing seascapes, I will mask off little areas where I know the whitecaps in the ocean are going to be. I don't do it a lot, though. I actually use my masking fluid more when I do acrylic painting, to be really honest. I want to just add a little blue to the background. And I have both the koi set. I don't know if you guys heard in the beginning. I have both the koi set and the small Winsor Newton set. And I think by far the koi set is better pigmented than the Winsor Newton set. Plus, the Winsor Newton set that I have, it's probably the one you guys have too. is this one. It's the Pocket Field Sketch Box. And I love the box, number one. Obviously, I love the box because it's well used. It has a little compartment for a brush, but I love the color selection. So when you're a color freak like I am, you know, 12 colors is not enough. And when you have a set like the Winsor Newton set, it has 12 nice colors, but there's no black. There's no black. There's no Payne's Gray. The darkest is like a raw umber. And, you know, yeah, I know how to mix color. I can mix you almost any color on the planet, but I don't like mixing color. And so this set is okay, and I've used it a little bit. But, you know, it's not my favorite. I like this one better. I'm sorry, I got distracted by reading the comments. Yeah, so I think for the dandelions, Mary, what I would do is figure out where I want the dandelions and maybe even do a watercolor pencil sketch. And then I would mask off the dandelion and then just paint over it. Like I would maybe do a wash in a very light pale yellow and then sketch out the dandelion with watercolor pencil and then mask over it. Let that dry completely. It takes a few minutes. And then paint the rest of the scene around that, knowing that where you've put the masking fluid is going to be the lightest spot on your flower, on your dandelions. And then once you rub the masking fluid off when you're done, go back and just touch up those areas a little bit if needed to blend them in with the rest of the painting. There's a technique called working, what is it called? Negative space painting? And you know, it's different than what you think what we have been doing in Journaling Crazy Island style. So it's a way with watercolors of painting around the image to pull the image out and working with layers. And with that, you use a lot more masking fluid. And there's a couple of good YouTube channels on YouTube that show how to do it. And it really is about layers. There's one of them where they do a pear. It's a still life, and they do a background, and then they mask off the pear, and then they paint around the pear, then they lift off the masking fluid, and then they paint something else. And it's beautiful when it's done. And if you go to G. Aarons on Ustream, which is one of my other channels, I know I put it in my watch later, and I don't know if you guys can access that or not. You might be able to. Because I don't remember who it's by. Yeah, I don't remember. But it is in there, and I do put things on watch later, or I put playlists on like. And the G. Aarons, G-A-H-R-E-N-S, is the channel that I watch videos on. FYI. It's not a secret now. See, it's not a bad. It's more of a rose than a dandelion, but I like it. Now, see, now though, you got me wanting to do dandelions, Mary. Grumbacher paints. I've used the Grumbacher acrylic paints, and they're fabulous. And the Grumbacher acrylic paints are non-toxic. So, unlike Golden, who uses some toxic pigments in their paint, the Grumbacher paints, generally speaking, at least their student version of acrylic paint, is non-toxic. I would still wash your hands before you eat anything, but just saying. I do have a couple of tubes of their watercolor paint, and I love them. I have a pink. I'm looking. I have phthalo crimson, and I'll show you. It's a beautiful color. I do like their watercolors very much. That is the pink that I own, and isn't that a beautiful color? And I think I have another one. Let's see. I have so many. Oh, I have so many though. It's hard to tell. I have so many paints now. I may only have the one. And I bought it because I needed to fill a palette. But I'm really happy with the color. I love the pigment load in the paint. And you notice that the pigment load is very smooth. There's a very smooth transition from the dark to the light. So it's a very, very smooth, like over here, like the Daniel Smith paint. It's not grainy in the least. I love it. So I would definitely say if you, I haven't tried their cake or pan sets, but if they're made the same way as their tube paints, I'd say go for it. I will probably eventually be graduating to getting an empty palette from somebody and putting my own paint in it, because I can see me being really particular. Yeah, so you really want to make sure when you're, Condi Girl, when you're buying paints, and you're really concerned about toxicity, that you're really reading the labels, because even in Golden, some of their colors are non-toxic, but some of them are not. Some of them have carcinogens in them. The pigments are carcinogens. So you really want to be careful about what you're buying. The Grumbacher Academy Acrylics, which is their student grade of paint, are all non-toxic. I would still, of course, still recommend that you wash your hands before you eat anything. Keep your hands really clean. If you have Art Guard, this is Art Guard. It's a skin protectant and hand cream. I would recommend that you use this on your hands before you start painting. It also makes the paint easier to come off. If you're super, super concerned about it, then wear gloves. But if you have animals around, then you definitely want to make sure that the art products you're bringing into the house are non-toxic. So even with something like this, you know, if you think they might get in it at some point, you are going to want to really read those labels. I use Spectrafix, which is a fixative for my charcoal and graphite drawings and pastel and chalk drawings, because it's non-toxic. Not because it works the best. It works okay. It's not the best thing on the planet, but it's non-toxic because I can't breathe the fumes of the better sprays. They make me wheeze. Yeah, don't you love that pink? That's a Grumbacher. And it's a great watercolor. I definitely would recommend their tube watercolors. I've never tried their cakes, so their cakes may be great. I do know I gave away one on my channel recently. I never did hear if the person who received it liked it or how they liked it, but I'd be interested in knowing that if you're out there somewhere. And by the way, did you guys know this week that my channel hit 3,000 subscribers? Yay! So we may be having a giveaway at some point. We'll see. And so, yeah, so the transparent watercolors are going to be more of your traditional watercolor like these. The opaque ones are going to be more of a gouache. And I have those. I don't use them as much. I don't use them as much, and I don't have as many of them because I don't use them as much than the others. Now, sometimes I'll use these together and I'll do a background. And if I want to put a focal point on here and I really want to cover up the background, then I will use one of these. I did that more before I bought a finer quality artist paint. When I was just using the cake paints and the inexpensive student grade, then I really used the gouache more with the regular watercolor to get an effect like this. But you can see with like this flower, because the Daniel Smith paint is so well pigmented, it really did a great job really pulling to the forefront on top of that background. Thanks, Mary. But when I'm doing some, like our journal pages where maybe I'm doing a face and I'm working in flesh tones and I'm working over maybe Neocolor pastels or chalk pastels, then I will maybe add some gouache. But I don't use these nearly as much. I'm almost sorry that I set this entire palette up because I really don't use them very much. I think since I set this palette up, I've used it twice. I use this one almost every day. This one, not so much. So, and this palette was expensive. But I have Pelican, which was is a cake watercolor, and I popped them out of the cakes and put them in here. They come in cakes like this. And also I have Reeves gouache, which is an inexpensive brand, but again, I wasn't going to invest tons of money in gouache because I don't use it that much. I use it occasionally. It's really nice when you're working over a mixed media background, maybe a collage background, to put gouache, because the gouache is really going to cover up most of your collage busy background and really make your, whatever it is you're painting over it, really pop out and be the focus. And I wouldn't use as much transparent watercolor on something like that as much as I would probably use gouache. So it has its use. It's not my favorite, and there's probably artists out there who love their gouache. I'm sure there are. My palette, these palettes here, the brand is Robax, R-O-B-A-X. If you Google Robax palette, it's going to pop up. They have a few different ones. This one, I know you're going to ask me which one is which. I don't remember. There's I think these are 18-inch. Let's see. Oh, maybe 15. So these are the 15-inch palettes. They come in a few different well sizes. I have the smaller one and the larger one. I knew I wanted the larger one for my watercolors because I wanted more colors. And I knew I never was going to need that for my gouache, and I was right. And they come with the main palette, the Lazy Susan that's on the bottom, and I've used industrial sticky back Velcro to Velcro my Lazy Susan to the palette. And then it comes with a lid to keep it from getting too dusty. And it comes with a few mixing trays. Now, this lid too can be used as a mixing tray. And I could, you can stack them. So if you had a place that you were storing them. And then you've all seen the one I made for my twinkling H2Os. I still haven't made the color chart to go in the center, but this one was made by Velcroing the little pots to a clear piece of round acrylic. And then I got a Lazy Susan from the hardware store, a plastic one. And there you go. I like having a round palette. It's really, when I'm working at home, I love it. I would really love it if one of the manufacturers out there made a round travel palette. Wouldn't that be the coolest thing? Just a small little round travel palette with like 24 colors in it. That'd be cool, right? Or is that just me? Okay, did everybody see about and this is a palette. This is a travel palette that I really love. If you didn't see, this is one that Miss Peta Thompson made for me, and this has little swatches of Peerless watercolors in it. Peerless is a watercolor paint that comes on a little piece of paper or cloth, and you can get sets of them in a pack. And this is a palette she made for me, and she wrote all the colors down, and I have extra little swatches of each one she gave me, which is in my drawer of paint. And she wrote down the names for me, and then when I got it, I swatched them all. And there's a nice note in here from her. And this is a great travel palette too, and usually I bring this and my koi set is usually, when I'm traveling, these are usually the two that are in my travel bag. I actually don't bring that many acrylic paints with me when I'm traveling as much as I bring watercolor. And then the Daniel Smith, and I understand we heard during this broadcast that Daniel Smith, Gold and Quar watercolors, they have a similar palette to this, so we all need to go over there and find it. Or write to them. But Daniel Smith has this palette you can order that has actual swatches of their paint on it, and they're water reactive, so you could cut this up and make a travel palette out of it, and you can see, oops, there it is. So this is actual paint. It's not a lot of paint, but it's enough to make a cute little small watercolor palette out of, and or to try the paints to see if you like them. Maybe you only like a few of the colors, because they do have some unique colors that nobody else has. This is a great way to do it, and this is $23.78 on their website, danielsmith.com. And the item number is 001900482. And what else? I lost these, if Lou Jean is out there. She sent me these a while ago, and I put them away. I haven't tried them yet. And I put them away, and I couldn't find them. And so now I just found them the other day. I put them with my other watercolors. These are Brusho watercolor crystals. A tiny bit goes a long way. Dick Blick now carries sets of them. Have fun. This is from Lou Jean. I got this a long time ago in Happy Mail, and she sent me quite a few colors. I haven't tried these yet. I want to. So I found those. And these are my spare Peerless that Miss Peta did for me. And I was just at, when I was at Aaron Brothers and looking at the stuff on the clearance aisle, they had some Winsor Newton Cotman watercolors on clearance. And they're, they're not the best brand on the planet, but they'll do. And I got a few different colors, including cadmium red and some blues. And they were on clearance for like $5, and that's cheap for these. And this is an artist. This is the Winsor Cotman, I think, is the student brand. But this is the artist brand watercolor, and this is raw sienna, which is a great color. And you're welcome, Lisa. I'm by no means an expert, but what I know, I'll share, and we'll learn together. What I don't know, we'll learn. I make plenty of mistakes. So I like this set here that I got from Winsor Newton. I think I like the box more than the paint, though. I know I've said that a couple times. I can see me taking these little pans out. Yeah. And maybe filling them with Daniel Smith. I hate to do that, though, because, see, I also try to be frugal. And the frugal part of me does not want to waste this paint. I think I just want the box. So we'll see where I go with that. But Target has a couple different sizes of this style of cosmetic case in the beauty department, and they make a great little travel bag. And they have one that's this size if you like the bigger. The Kipling, this is a Kipling 100 pen case, and it's not cheap. But they have one that's similar to this at Target. And it's just about the same size, and it's made just like this one. So you might look at that if you're looking to put a travel watercolor set together. I may have a giveaway, and I may give away this little Winsor Newton set. I'm not sure yet. I don't need to have this one and this one. I don't know. We'll see. I hate to get rid of this one because it was my first, even though I don't use it anymore. Really? I don't know. See, that's the problem. I don't want to get rid of stuff. Which box, Miko? This one? or this one, or the Winsor Newton little box. I love that little Winsor Newton box. See, I love this little box, and I don't really mind that it has 12 colors. I just wish they were 12 different colors. Because, you know, when you're traveling, 12 colors is fine. I can mix what I need if I don't need it. And the koi set, you know, it has 24, but still, I could do the koi set with 12. And I don't mind that it only has 3 mixing areas, but it's the wrong color mix for me. I know it has warm and cool yellows, warm and cool reds, warm and cool blues, warm and cool greens, and it has your 3 browns and a white. Yellow ochre, that's probably like a raw sienna, and raw umber. That's not black, it's brown. That's fine. I wish that it had not this one, and that it had black instead. That it had, this I'm pretty sure is raw sienna, and I wish it had raw umber and then black, or Payne's gray. I think that I would be more happy with the set if it did. I think that's why I don't like it, because it doesn't have one really dark color, and I like my brights, but I like one really dark color, and I like not having to mix a dark color. That drives me crazy. But if we're going out like to the beach and I just want to take a small watercolor set, I can take this little one, which is kind of why I made it. I can throw a few of these postcards in here. And see, and this fits in my handbag. I can fit this in my purse, and it's easier to take in my purse if I'm like out with my husband than this bigger one is. Yeah, see, I think if I use them all up, then I can put whatever I want into it, Condi Girl, and I think that's what I'm going to be doing. Because I like the idea of being able to have one in my handbag and sort of have a little something with me all the time. I don't do sitting idle well, and when I'm sort of having anxiety or depression issues, one of my ways of dealing with it has always been art, and being able to sit somewhere and have a cup of coffee and do a little watercolor, you know, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing, and I like that idea a lot, so I'll probably hang on to this and try to use those paints up. But I'm thinking about getting something else like this and putting something together for you guys for a giveaway since I hit 3,000 subscribers. Let me know what you guys think of that. And if you like the idea of having another watercolor giveaway, this time I would get a little bag and I would get probably a koi set and some different little things to go inside of it for you all. So let me know if that's something that you guys are interested in, and then we'll try to make it happen. And it's just about time for us to stop for the day. Let me know if you have any more questions, and I'll hang on for just a minute. And if you're in the chat and you've been trying to ask me a question, I can't see you. So come over to the social stream. And yes, didn't Miss Peta have a fabulous idea? She bought herself some Peerless, and she was making one of these for herself. And she said, would you like one? I said, yes, please. And when it came then, all I had to do was put this piece of acetate in so that when I am using it, I can, you know, use a color over here and then flip this and use a color over here, and they don't contaminate each other. And it's nice and flat and thin. And if you were going to make one, if you got Peerless watercolors and you were going to make one of these, you really could make it any size and make it to fit in your handbag or into one of these travel bags. You could definitely make it smaller. I'm glad you guys think that's great. Okay, I will try to put something together in the next week or two, and we'll see what we can do. So there's nothing wrong with having the cheaper watercolors in a tube. I like my tube watercolors, just so you know. I do have a Facebook page. I have 2 of them. Gina B. Aarons or GinaBAarons.com. They're both me. You can friend me or on either one. And yeah, I friend just about everybody. Coffee and watercolors in heaven. Yeah, I love coffee and watercolors. I mean, there's nothing better, right? Coughing watercolors at the beach. Now that's like the thing, right? There's nothing wrong with cheap watercolors. That's how I started. I still have some of them. And as I decided I wanted to add more colors to my stockpile and I wanted to increase my color selection, and I really decided I enjoyed it, then I graduated to replacing colors with Daniel Smith or Grumbacher or one of the other better brands. I do like my tube watercolors. The color, I think, is a lot more vibrant in the tube. Whether you're working straight out of the tube or you're filling it a palette like this one and letting it dry, I think the tube watercolors are more vibrant. And I usually put my tube watercolors into this palette and I let them dry and then reactivate them with water. And I love that. I can see me getting a palette at some point that I either empty or I buy empty and filling it with Daniel Smith, because I don't have the Schminky yet. They're on their way, but right now the Daniel Smith is my favorite. I may change my mind when the Schminky comes, but I don't have it yet, so we'll have to see. I'll let you guys know, but I love the Daniel Smith watercolors a lot, and I will always love them to a certain extent because they have colors nobody else has. So they have this like phthalo turquoise. Whoops, right there. And they have, where's another one? This is the Rose of Ultramarine. There is Moon Glow. This one is called Bloodstone. And this one's called Hematite. Oh, Hematite Violet. So they have these and I really love their quinacridone Gold Deep. So they have these colors that nobody else has, made from pigments nobody else really uses. So, and I just would buy them as budget would allow, like 1 or 2 tubes at a time. Now my local art supply store frequently has them 30% off. So I would go in there with, you know, 20 bucks. That means just 2 tubes of paint, but I would buy my 2 tubes and I just added to my collection that way. And I didn't fill these wells all the way up, so that if at some point I decide I want to make a custom travel palette, I still have some of that same tube paint and I can do that with it. And this is not going to go bad just because it's dried out. It's watercolor. It's never going to go bad. Yeah, and I love the colors, don't you? They're fabulous. Yes, and you can definitely do that. It's not going to hurt it at all. I've been using them that way for years, the tube paints. They last a really long time. One little tube will last you a long time. I'll probably be 80 and still have some of the same tubes. Oops. The only thing I figured out I was missing is I had so much color and I didn't have white or any sandy tones. So I added this little small palette addition with the 2 whites and the buff. Because when I am mixing colors or doing landscapes, sometimes these come in handy to lighten a color or to add a little white to a page. Now these 2 whites are semi-opaque, so you can see on the color swatch that I put the whites over some black pen. One of them is a little more opaque than the other, and they're a slightly different color of white. So that told me what it would and wouldn't do. So when I'm working on a landscape and I know I want to add white to it, then I know I can look at this and kind of judge which white I want to try. And this is I don't know what it's, I think it's made out of bamboo. It's a little bamboo pad. I got it at Daiso, and it's for wiping inky brushes and stuff on. So I hope you guys enjoyed that couple of hours. I'm not going to keep you on any longer. I know it's Friday afternoon, and it's in America, it's the Friday afternoon before Mother's Day weekend. And if you're like us, some of us are starting Mother's Day tomorrow instead of Sunday. So everybody have a great weekend. Don't forget to give your mom a hug. And if you're a mom, you know, have a great relaxing weekend and make some of them kids do some chores for you. All right. And maybe you can get the husband to go out and let you buy some art supplies. But, you know, we've all been on budgets or are on budgets. So, you know, don't feel bad if you can't buy the most expensive thing. Use what you can afford, and you can get a lot of really great results with something really inexpensive. I used these for years, literally for years. And I used up a couple colors. But this is a well-used, well-loved, very inexpensive watercolor set. And there's nothing wrong with starting with something like this. So do what you can. All right, that's it, you guys. Don't forget to have a great day. Have a great weekend. And do something nice for yourself because you deserve it. And I'll see you later.